Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from ArtAlienTV. Now today we are looking at this image near Jezero Crater. It's right on the edge of Jezero Crater, in fact, and it's the west rim. And this is image 0589961985, and this is cool because this is really close to where the new rover will be landing in February next year, 2021. And this is the edge of the crater here. You can see the edge of it, and we have some really interesting things in here. I'm just going to show you the page it comes from here. This will all be linked up as usual. You can check the links out for all this stuff either from the Gigapan up here. If you click on the info at the top where it says NASA in Arizona, you click on that and it will take you to this page. And this is the area where we're looking at today, which is due west of Jezero Crater, right next to the edge of the crater here. And basically we got some really cool stuff here. This is cool. This is really cool, and I would say without any doubt whatsoever that this is completely artificial. When I say completely artificial, I mean this area here. We have a perfectly square area, complex, I would say, with buildings. And even in this image has been enhanced slightly. It says here, it's had the contrast and brightness turned up just to make it better to look at, because it's a bit pasty when you look at it from the raw image. But basically what we have here is a perfect square complex with buildings. There's one here and there's a little one here. I'll go in close. Now you can't see them very well here, but you can see them. Once you know they're there, there's an apex structure here, just here, which is a building, which has a square entrance here that goes into it. And there's a weird structure here that looks like it's collapsed. There's a smaller structure either attached to this, but probably behind it. We got the apex structure here and another structure here. Now I'm going to show you it in my graphics processor here, because this is a bit easier to see. What I've done is I've added a filter to it and I've brightened it right up, and you can see here, if we zoom in, the apex structure. Here's the apex structure. It comes right down like this. Okay, if we go in closer, we have an entrance to it, which is square, like this. The square part in the middle, like that. Then we have some flat ground in front of it here, and some other small details, like objects on the ground. So this is what seems to be a building, a large building. Now this will give you scale, this image. If we go to this, this is pretty accurate. This thing is about 40 meters from here to here. So this part, which is the length of the building, I would say is about 20 or 30 meters, because we're looking at an angle here. We're not completely side on. We're looking at it from above and from an angle. If we look on the page here, you can see the phase angle and the emission angle. So this is taken at 30 degrees, just over. So we're not looking straight down, we're looking down but at an angle, which is far more useful when you're studying any of these things on the ground, because basically it gives you a much better idea of perspective of the objects and the actual shapes of the objects, rather than just looking straight down and seeing everything from above. You're seeing it slightly from the side as well. Okay, that makes it a far more useful image to get information from. There's also something strange here, not really sure what that is. There's a few things in this image, but basically even in this, if you look at this thing here, you can see the apex structure there. There's this squarish thing that looks like a ruined structure, and we've got some other either ruins or just rocks here, but basically the whole thing is on the edge of this kind of cliff edge here almost. We've got this mountainous area here, which I think here is the edge of Jezero Crater. So this over here, I think, is in Jezero Crater here. This is the edge of Jezero. And we have, right on the edge here, we have this perfectly square complex. So let's have a look at this again. Let's get some more detail out of this. We've got behind the apex structure, which is here, we've got another one here. Now I don't really understand what this is fully, but it comes around like this. This looks like another smaller outbuilding or something. It's got some kind of structure to it. It's a bit hard to make out. What I'm going to do, I'm going to brighten this up a bit because this is quite a dark image, and the material that these things are made from looks really dark. So I'm going to brighten it up a bit because we need to see what's going on here. Let's go bright a couple of times. There we are. Now we can see a bit more. Let's add a bit of contrast. Let's go a little bit darker. There we are. Now you can see the apex structure a bit better. This is big. It's not huge, but it's the size of a house. This is a house. Or some kind of living quarters, perhaps, that was maybe inhabited, may even be inhabited now. We don't know. We really don't know. But the structure behind it is interesting. It comes up and round like this. And we've got like a part to it like that. It's like a pod or something. Maybe this is the outside lavatory. Could be a latrine. Who knows? We really don't know. This structure here was interesting because it's kind of rectangular like that, and there's another part behind it here, right? But look at the thing next to it here. We've got this weird little structure, I'm going to call it, which comes around like that, with windows. It's got two windows, one there and one there. Very strange. Okay, now I'm not sure what that is, but it looks like a structure. Let's go back to the Gigapan a minute and check it out on there and see how big that is. It's just here, it's quite small, just about make it out. So that is probably, it's about a third of that. It's probably about 7 meters ish, I would say. About 7 meters, yeah. It's about a third, a bit less than that, but probably about 6 meters across. So that's quite small, but big enough to live in if you were on your own. So who knows? So there's lots of weird things here. And basically you can see this round thing. I don't know what this is. See this round thing here? We've got a circular object which is kind of attached to this larger rectangular thing here next to this little pod thing. This little thing with the windows, right? So let's look at it again in here and see if we can get any sense out of this. We've got a circular part with another circular part round it, which looks kind of broken. There's some more chaotic stuff down here, like rubble. We've got the structure with windows here. It's there, you can see the windows. And then we've got this kind of rectangular thing, which seems to come out here, but there's something else here with parts to it there. Don't really understand what that is. So there's something weird going on here, right? This looks like some kind of structure. It comes down like this. And you can see that the lower part of it, we've got these shadows at the bottom, so I think it sort of ends there. But there's like a little thing here. That is weird. What is that little thing there? This could be an entrance here. Like an airlock porch kind of thing, maybe. Very strange indeed. So when you start looking at this stuff, you think, well, hang on a minute. If that's a structure, then that's a structure here. The apex structure, which is similar to some that I've seen on the moon, spotted on the moon, not so long ago, a couple of years ago. We got the now. Let's look at the entrance here. We've got a square here. It's going close. there, right? Well, it's almost square anyway. This looks like a porch attached to the front of the building here, like this. And we've got like I said, like there's a flatter area and the steps coming out like this. We've got this weird structure here. So this, it's almost like a farmstead, a ruined farmstead or something. It's really interesting. And we've got some rectangular objects here. Something there, not really sure what that is. And the thing behind, I'm trying to work out what this is. It seems to come down to here. And we've got a sort of structure there. I don't really understand what that is, but it's got some interesting details on it here. There's like a window or some kind of part to it there. Very interesting, right? So we've got multiple structures, a load of random stuff here, but some of these may be ruined structures. There seems to be some kind of wall or something here, right? And there's that part there. And we've got, what I find amazing about this is the edges. This looks like it's been cut straight out of the bedrock. And it's almost like someone came along with a big sort of, I don't know, a big laser and just cut a square out. You can actually see, you don't really have to draw around it because you can actually see the square structure really clearly without doing anything to it. You've got the slope coming down here. There's some other strange things around here as well. We've got these ridges and stuff. And this part of the image is in colour here, so you can see how colourful a lot of this stuff is. We've got these mysterious dunes that are everywhere, covering everything. And lots of mineral deposits here. And then we've got this flat area. This looks like it's been cleared almost. Or for some reason there's not many dunes here. We've got some weird stuff nearby, but most of it looks natural. And then we have the square complex here. And we got the edge of the crater here, the mountainous edge of Jezero Crater. So that's cool, right? That is really cool. And I don't see how this really could be explained away as being natural, especially when you have apex-shaped buildings and ruins inside the square complex, okay? I really don't see how anyone can explain that as being completely natural. I don't think it is, and it probably isn't. I don't see how that could be explained away frivolously by some wannabe skeptic as just a natural formation. It's not, because we clearly have structures inside it, which says to me that it's artificial. So we have almost kind of Dutch style hut or house with another structure here which looks like it's kind of fallen down maybe, or maybe it was designed like this, I don't know. We're not seeing it completely from the side here, so this could be the sort of roof here, and this could be the back of the roof here, perhaps. So this could be the roof at the back, and this could be the top of the roof. Who knows? But I don't know. I don't quite understand what this circular structure is. It's very strange, and it looks a bit kind of broken down and damaged. But you've really got to look at all this stuff here, whether it's actually all a load of structures or some of it's natural. I mean, this over here looks natural here, and so does this, but there are some interesting shapes in here, but maybe this is just a pile of debris. Okay, so I'm not sure about this part, but these certainly look like structures. We got structures with windows, we got circular parts, we got rectangular parts, we got an apex structure, we got another kind of little outhouse kind of shed type structure here, which is probably something to do with this one here. Like I said, this could be an outdoor latrine or something, who knows, or storage area, I don't know, I'm just speculating. But we've got another box, we've got a kind of box shaped thing on the ground here, which looks very bright compared to the surrounding area, which is probably artificial. So we've got multiple stuff in here. Nearby, there's also some more weird things I'm going to show you very quickly. So there it is. It's near the bottom of the actual Gigapan here. So you can find that quite easily. But just over to the right of this, we have this rather interesting formation. Now, bear in mind that this is buried in probably thousands of years of sand drifts and dunes and everything, okay? And we've got loads in here, if you look carefully, especially when you come up to this part, right? We've got loads of divots in the ground which are square, like I showed before in some of my previous videos. I think this is a little village here, this whole area, and it has a perimeter wall going around the outside of it here, see? And it comes around here, and up to here, and round to here. But it's so heavily buried in sand, and sand drifts and everything, that the only remnants you can see are some shapes in the ground where the structures have been buried. And we can see these square areas here, okay? See these squares? There's another one here, that's quite a good one there. There's a square next to it there, almost black. There's a structure here that looks square. So I do recommend, if you don't have it, to get this magnifier. It's called, I've said this before, it's called magnifying glass hover zoom, and it's a Chrome extension. So if you go into your Chrome settings, type it in, look it up, and it's free, and it's really good, and you can alter the amount of zoom and size of it as well. But if you look down here, we've got squares in the ground, multiple squares in the ground, here, here, there's one here that looks like a little tower, just there. Let's go in close and see if we can see that up close there. Look at that. That's a building. That looks like a building. And it even has like a part on top of it. I'm not really sure what's going on here. Really interesting. So there seem to be loads of structures in the ground that are buried, but some of them are slightly exposed, and we're only seeing the sort of the shapes kind of rounded off where they've been buried, okay? So imagine if you were in a sand pit and you got a load of sort of Lego bricks, put them in the sand, and then just tip sand over the top, a covering of sand, you would still see the shapes sticking up. They'd be rounded off where the sand is kind of formed over and around the objects. Like here, we have these square structures, right? There's loads of them here. There's dozens and dozens of them. I think this whole thing here is a village on the edge of Jezero Crater, and it's really close to the square complex here, right? So if you lived here, you'd be able to walk out of here. This looks like an exit or entrance point here, or perhaps this end. You could walk out this end here, right? And then walk up here, climb up the side of the ridge. You'd probably follow a path. There's probably paths down here which are buried. You would probably come along here, perhaps, and then up here, and then you would have to somehow climb up the edge of this, or go round. You'd have to go round the edge of this ridge to here, to this flat area, and then down to the complex here, okay? Or perhaps there was some kind of lift or something here. Or perhaps there was like a ladder or some steps here or something, or a trail. Perhaps you would go around this way. I don't know. I'm just trying to think as if I was living on the surface, how I would get from there to here. It's not very far away. How far is that? It's about 500 meters from the square complex to the village, what looks like a buried village here. Okay, so not that far, half a kilometre. That could be done in what, 5-10 minutes over rough ground, a bit longer. So you could probably get from one to the other. Perhaps there's a path here that looks a bit like a depression here. You could probably walk up through here and come around that way. Who knows? Either way, they're not very far apart. This definitely looks artificial, and I'm pretty sure what we have here is a buried village with small square and rectangular structures that are all kind of together. You can see them. You may want to tilt your screen a little bit like I just did. You can see them here, but if you take a clip of this, which I will do in a minute, I'll take some clips of this, and I'll push the contrast, and we'll see how many of these little structures can be seen, because I'm pretty sure there's a whole bunch of them here, right? And it just may look like random stuff to you, but I'm seeing a village here, and you know, I've been studying satellite images for many, many years now, since the sort of 80s, 70s actually, since the mid-70s, but doing it professionally on and off since the end of the 80s. So I've been doing this a very long time, and I know of a buried village when I see one. And there's also some weird stuff up here near the top of the image as well. There's some structures here. There's a rectangular structure here and what looks like a ruin here. Let's get the magnifier on that. Have a look at it. Just here and here. You can actually see what looks like a ruined structure here with walls here, right? So I'll take some clips of that. There's also some other smaller things that all look buried. Hard to tell exactly. And then there's a weird kind of structure sticking out here as well. I'm not sure if that's anything. But this is the riverbed. There's loads of rivers around Jezero Crater, river tributaries, and there's structures nearby and all sorts. Okay, as I've shown before in previous videos. So who knows? This is like a little island, and the river would have come round this, right? And there's a structure right there. You can actually see that. A rectangular structure here and another one here with a part to it here as well. So it's rectangles and squares all over the place, okay? And there's probably loads more in this image that I haven't even spotted yet. A lot of it's buried, a lot of it's very, very old, I would say, possibly millions of years old, but may only be a few thousand years old, some of these things. They may be quite recent. I mean, this looks like it's been cleared, this whole area. Now, why would this be clear of sand and all this not be? This is all kind of like sand drifts everywhere, right? But not here? Why not? Why isn't there sand drifts over this? So that says to me that this may have been occupied fairly recently, whereas this little village down here is all drifted and covered in sand. So this is probably much older here, I would say. You can see like a perimeter wall where they've built a kind of a dry stone wall around the edge, and the sand's drifted up against that, and it's all covered in sand drifts here, almost completely buried, I'd say. Sort of 80%, 90% buried, but they've got the odd structure like this one sticking up. But you can see the multiple rectangular and square shapes here, right? They're there. That very much looks like a much older village that has probably not been in use for thousands of years. Whereas this looks like it may still be in use or was in recent use due to the lack of sand dunes around it. This looks like it's been cleared of sand when everything else is buried, which is very strange. That says to me recent occupation, okay? So thanks for watching, everybody. I will see you soon.